Today's news brings significant updates from global conflicts and economic developments. As tensions rise in the Middle East, new laws in India aim to curb examination fraud. Stay tuned as we break down today's top 10 stories you need to know. The increasing integration of artificial intelligence into various sectors is reshaping economic landscapes worldwide. As companies invest heavily in AI technology, the implications for labor markets and economic structures are becoming more pronounced. This technological revolution is driving efficiencies, but also raises concerns about job displacement and the future of work. Businesses are adapting to these changes, seeking to harness the potential of AI while navigating the challenges it presents. Policymakers are urged to develop frameworks that will address these concerns and ensure that the benefits of AI are distributed equitably across society. As discussions around AI's role in the economy continue, stakeholders will need to consider how best to balance innovation with social responsibility. Recent analyses indicate that the dynamics of inflation and investment are undergoing significant changes in the current economic climate. Historically, geopolitical shocks would lead to rising inflation and a retreat of private investment. However, today's trends reveal a different narrative. The rise of artificial intelligence is driving non-discretionary private capital spending, anchoring growth in both developed and emerging markets. The concentration of wealth among the largest companies is becoming more pronounced, with the top 10 firms now representing a substantial portion of market capitalization. Investors are encouraged to focus on persistent inflation as they navigate these new economic realities. The shift in investment patterns suggests that diversification strategies may be more effective in developed markets outside of the U.S. As these trends continue to evolve, businesses and investors will need to adapt their strategies to remain competitive and resilient. Protests have erupted in India over allegations of police brutality, particularly in response to recent violent actions against students demonstrating for their rights. These students have been vocal about educational reforms and equitable treatment from authorities. Political leader Rahul Gandhi has publicly criticized the government, demanding accountability for the police's actions and urging reforms. This unrest is not an isolated incident. It reflects a long-standing struggle between the government and various civil society groups advocating for transparency and justice. The government's heavy-handed response to these demonstrations has raised significant concerns about civil liberties and the right to protest, which are fundamental in a democratic society. As tensions escalate, the potential for further unrest looms. Activists are calling for comprehensive reform in law enforcement practices to prevent future abuses. The outcome of these protests could significantly impact India's political landscape and shape the future of civil rights in the country, making it a pivotal moment for governance. Germany has announced a significant reduction in tourist visa appointment waiting times for Indian travelers, cutting the process down to just 2 days. This move is a strategic response to the growing number of Indian tourists who are increasingly interested in exploring Germany's rich history, diverse landscapes, and vibrant cities. In recent years, India has emerged as one of the fastest-growing markets for international travel, prompting Germany to enhance its appeal. This expedited visa process not only facilitates easier access, but also reflects Germany's commitment to strengthening diplomatic and cultural ties with India. The anticipated influx of Indian tourists is expected to have substantial economic implications, benefiting local businesses, hotels, and attractions reliant on tourism revenue. Moreover, this initiative aligns with broader efforts to promote international tourism in a post-pandemic world. As both nations work to deepen their partnership, stakeholders will closely monitor the effects of this visa policy, particularly in terms of economic growth and cultural exchange opportunities. Oreo maker Mondelez has released its second quarter financial results, which have exceeded analysts' expectations due to steady demand for its products. The company reported a significant increase in sales, driven by a surge in consumer interest in comfort foods during challenging economic times. This trend has been particularly notable as many consumers seek solace in familiar snacks amid inflationary pressures and uncertainty. Mondelez's strong performance reflects not only its successful brand portfolio, including iconic products like Oreos and Cadbury, but also the resilience of the food sector amidst broader economic uncertainties. While many companies are grappling with supply chain disruptions, Mondelez has managed to maintain consistent demand and profitability, positioning itself as a benchmark for the food industry. Looking ahead, Mondelez aims to sustain this momentum by innovating its product lines and enhancing operational efficiencies. As consumer preferences evolve, the company will strategically adapt to ensure continued growth in an increasingly competitive market. FIFA has announced a groundbreaking $20 billion private equity plan aimed at reshaping the commercial landscape of global soccer. This initiative intends to open the World Cup to private investment, a move that could significantly alter the financial dynamics of the sport. The proposal is expected to spark a fierce debate, particularly in Europe, where regulatory bodies and football associations are concerned about potential disruptions to the traditional funding models of the sport. FIFA's push for capital investment is seen as a response to the growing financial pressures facing many clubs and leagues worldwide. By tapping into private equity, FIFA aims to bolster the financial health of the sport while increasing its global reach and appeal. However, this ambitious plan has raised questions about the influence of private investors on the governance of soccer. As discussions unfold, stakeholders across the football community will be evaluating the implications of this shift and how it may affect the future of the game. In a proactive step to safeguard employment, Unilever has agreed to protect the employment terms of workers in its European and British food business for 2 years following its planned merger with McCormick, valued at $65 billion. This agreement is significant as it underscores Unilever's commitment to job security during a time of considerable corporate restructuring. Mergers of this magnitude often lead to uncertainty, affecting employee morale and stability. The memo outlining this agreement emphasizes Unilever's intention to ensure that employee rights and working conditions remain intact, addressing concerns that often arise during such transitions. The merger, anticipated to finalize in 2027, aims to create a dominant player in the food industry, but it also raises critical questions about the future of jobs within both companies. As Unilever navigates this complex process, stakeholders, including employees, unions, and investors, will scrutinize the implementation of this agreement. Moving forward, Unilever must demonstrate its commitment to workers by effectively managing the merger while prioritizing job security and employee welfare. In a significant development that highlights the ongoing challenges within the automotive industry, BMW has announced plans to cut approximately 8,000 jobs by the end of 2027. This decision reflects a broader trend of restructuring among major automotive manufacturers, driven by the urgent need to adapt to changing market dynamics and evolving consumer preferences. The company specifically cited the necessity for enhanced efficiency and competitiveness as the automotive landscape increasingly shifts towards electric vehicles and advanced technological innovations. The job cuts are expected to predominantly impact administrative and production roles, raising substantial concerns regarding the implications for affected employees and local economies reliant on these jobs. Analysts believe this difficult decision may be a necessary adjustment as the industry transitions towards a more sustainable future, but it will undoubtedly have profound effects on workers and the supply chain. As BMW embarks on this transformative journey, the broader automotive sector must consider how these strategic changes will influence the future of mobility. In the coming months, industry stakeholders will closely monitor BMW's progress and its effects on the market. In a significant legislative move, India's Lok Sabha has passed the Public Examinations Prevention of Unfair Means Amendment Bill 2026. This new law aims to implement stricter penalties against exam paper leaks and organized examination fraud, responding to widespread malpractice in public examinations. The urgency for such measures has been underscored by a series of high-profile cheating scandals that have tarnished the integrity of the education system. These incidents have not only affected students, but have also raised concerns among employers about the competency of graduates entering the workforce. The law is set to enhance the credibility of public examinations, a vital aspect for the millions of students who rely on these assessments for their academic and professional futures. Critics, including notable political figures, have raised concerns about the law's effectiveness and the government's commitment to fair educational practices. However, proponents argue that the bill is a necessary step toward ensuring fairness and transparency. As implementation begins, stakeholders will be keen to see whether this legislation can successfully deter future fraud and restore public trust in the examination process. The success of this initiative could pave the way for further educational reforms in India, potentially transforming the academic landscape. The conflict between the United States and Iran has escalated significantly over the last 48 hours. Recent reports indicate that U.S. military strikes targeted the OIZ Iranshar airport in southern Iran, alongside several military installations around the strategically critical Strait of Hormuz. This waterway is vital for global oil transportation, making any military actions here particularly concerning. In retaliation, Iran launched attacks on U.S. facilities across Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and a radar station in Oman, demonstrating its capability and willingness to project power throughout the region. This exchange of hostilities has heightened the risk of broader military engagement, with Iranian forces reportedly targeting a U.S. base in Syria, although assessments suggest no damage was incurred. The ongoing military operations are accompanied by air defense interceptions in Doha, highlighting the pervasive tension in the area. The implications of these developments are profound, as they threaten to disrupt not only regional stability, but also global oil supplies, which could lead to skyrocketing prices and economic repercussions worldwide. As the U.S. continues to bolster its military presence in the region, observers are increasingly concerned about the potential for an escalated conflict that could draw in additional nations. In this tense environment, the urgent need for diplomatic solutions becomes paramount, as both sides must navigate the complex geopolitical landscape to avert a larger crisis. Thank you for watching today's news roundup. Which story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.